A while back at the amateur radio flea market out here in Delta, where I picked up that scope, I also picked up that little wooden box MP3 player with the FM radio, and it had a 32 meg SD card, which was kind of useless, but I thought for testing it might actually do the job if I convert that line input to a line out. So let's do it. So I think you guys remember this little piece of crap that I got at the ham radio flea market. Just a little FM radio with an MP3 player built in, with speakers and everything. And I thought this might be useful to use on my test bench as an audio source when I'm testing tape decks and stuff. The problem is, and the reason I want to use something like this is, well, it uses a full-size SD card as opposed to a micro SD, and it just happened to have come with a very, very small SD card, 32 megs, which is kind of useless for anything. But I was thinking, I could put 5 or 6, maybe 7 tracks, depending on the size of the tracks, onto the 32 meg SD card and just use it for testing, because I'll just pick a few good royalty-free tracks, maybe stuff from the YouTube music library, put it on that little card and use it for testing. The problem is this 3.5 millimeter plug on the back here, it's an input, not an output. So we're going to convert this to an output. Let's get started. Now, to convert this thing to an output, it's going to be real simple. Some of you may already know what I'm going to do, but this should take me no more than a couple of minutes. Because basically all I need to do is access this little circuit board here. I just need to access the plug, and you see the way this is wired right now, the sound is coming in from the MP3 player. It's coming in through this header and it's heading off. Oh man, I just get interrupted. I heard a door close, like a truck door. I looked up at my monitor, and it's the DHL guy. And the DHL guy just showed up with a package from Banggood. And they have $27 in broker charges. It's like, you can send this back to China, thank you very much. I said, I don't pay broker charges on samples. They were supposed to ship it out. It was another digital microscope that they wanted me to show off. I said, well, I'm not paying this, so you can send it back. I don't think they're going to be happy with me. This was the second time that they've sent me something, and somebody over there sent it by DHL, and DHL had broker fees on it, and I said, nope, sorry, I'm not paying them. They can either pay them or you can send it back to them. So anyway, where were we? Okay, we've got our signal coming in through this header, and here are the amplifiers for the built-in speakers, and there's a volume control right over here. So if we look at the traces, we'll see that this one here goes to that side of the volume control, this one goes to that side of the volume control, so obviously this is the input. Now if I wanted to make this just an output jack, I could just cut the traces and just reverse the wires, but I don't really need to do that, because you see, I can just turn the volume down so I don't have to listen to the speaker. So really all I need to do is just bridge those two together and bridge those two together, and that will turn this into an output. Because the way it's wired now, when you put a plug in the back here, it shuts off the sound coming from the MP3 player, and these are connected, these two outside ones here, these are the ones that are connected to the jack. These ones here are connected to the switch. They should have wired this with these traces here going to the outside ones and the inside ones going over to the amplifier. And then when you put a plug in, it would cut off the amplifier. But anyway, this is wired as an auxiliary input. We don't need an auxiliary input. All we need on this is an output. So all I need to do is just short those two together, and then this unit will have an auxiliary output on it, a line level output. And I'll still be able to use the speakers because they'll still be live. So let's just put a nice little blob of solder on here. Oh, there comes the thumbs down. I can just sense it. And there's another one. And now we'll just put in the 3 screws that I've got for it. There used to be 4 screws, but that's another story. 4 screws around here somewhere. I just can't recall where I dropped it. But that's okay. It doesn't need 4 screws. Get another thumbs down from someone for that, I'm sure. And I'll get another thumbs down from someone who said I paid too much for it. Okay, so now, if I turn it on, it will still work, like before. So here we go, radio.
Ambulance rolled this new dispatching
CBC on here. If I plug it in.
That model is default. Like fire would have been called to co-respond with ambulance in the old system, but because of the new system, they weren't.
Guess I got to clean that plug.
We know that BC Ministry has addressed this issue, has ordered an independent review on.
For all yes, I am. I mean, it's bigger than I expected it to be. He did an incredible job. The doctors did a very thorough job. It's never going to be enough to have saved her, but it definitely will make a difference to people who call for help in the future.
I see. In what way? What stands out for you from
Turn the volume off on here.
One of the big ones that I really am thankful for is that if a patient stops responding or answering the phone, which my mom had done, she wasn't able to answer her phone after the paramedics had already arrived and the line was disconnected, that it's to assume that the patient has deteriorated and to stay there and try to get.
So there we go. Line output on this little piece of junk now. Now I'll use it when I'm working on other tape decks and stuff where I need an input. Instead of using the one in the plastic box that I've built before, I can use this one. This one's battery powered, so I don't have to find a power source for it. So it, yeah, it's kind of neat. And again, I can still plug in a USB stick, but I got a 32 meg SD card, which I say is kind of useless. So that'll at least let me use it on this. Thanks for watching.